Hello everyone and welcome to Shelby This Week. On today's program, Shelby policy issues, business awards, and a local group lends a helping hand. All this plus much more, but first. Township officials recently attended the Michigan Townships Association Conference. A variety of topics were highlighted at the 61st Annual Expo held in Traverse City. A few proposed topics on the policy platform: changing state term limits. Trustee Doug Wozniak attended the government conference. He tells us more.
Proposed lengthening of term limits for legislators, and that's in conjunction with putting the legislature on a part-time basis. So either one of those could happen in the near future. Lengthening, the theory behind that is that the people that are going in the legislature don't have enough time to get acquainted with the system as it exists and how to get things done, and then they're out of office. So that's one argument for that. The other argument is, of course, that do we really need a full-time legislature? So I think that'll be up for a vote this November if they get enough signatures.
Another hot topic at the Township Conference: medical marijuana.
Well, I think there's been a proliferation of medical marijuana sites, and they've had conflict with state law and particularly with federal law. So we're trying to resolve that conflict, but still be able to have some control at the local level. And I think that's important that we do have that. If we can get it, it'd be great.
Managing road projects was another subject matter.
There is some support for having legislation for a township that if they contribute up to 50%, they can get their own type of contractor and determine what the project's going to be like. We'll see if that passes or not. 50% of a project's a lot of money, and particularly on the local level.
Legislators spent time in work sessions educating themselves with these important topics. We'll take another look at the Michigan Township Association Conference and the subjects brought up that impact local citizens. Macomb County honored local area businesses recently at the second annual Macomb Business Awards ceremony. Local businesses, leaders, and keynote speakers were in attendance. Here's Andrew Shelsky with more.
A sellout crowd of nearly 400 gathered at Andiamo's in Warren for the Home in Macomb Business Awards. Lasorda, former CEO of Chrysler Corporation and founder of venture capital firm Inkwell, opened the event as a keynote speaker. The crowd was also treated to an appearance by Governor Rick Snyder, who offered congratulatory words to the 35 organizations nominated for this year's awards.
Greeting for you is there are two themes why I'm excited to be here. One, it's about partnership, and two, it's about celebration. And what do I mean by partnership? That's why we're succeeding, because we're working better and better together. We've made a decision in Michigan, instead of wasting too much time fighting with one another, and unfortunately too much of that still happens. We have great places such as Macomb County where it's about how we work together.
Hugh Perkins, anchor for Fox 2 Detroit, was joined by County Executive Mark Hackle to award single recipients of 5 categories. 2 Shelby Township businesses were nominated this year: for corporate citizen Anderson, Eckstein, and Westwick Incorporated, and for Startup Business of the Year, Cosi Bella Nail Spa. The Crystal Awards went to Proper Group International of Warren, the champion of workforce development, for State Bank of St. Clair Shores, for corporate citizen, Omega Plastics of Clinton Township, for being the diversification leader, New Haven Community Schools, energy efficiency expert, and the Startup Business of the Year was Ethel's Edibles of St. Clair Shores. The event was coordinated by the Macomb County Department of Planning and Economic Development. For Shelby This Week, I'm Andrew Shelsky.
In other business news, FEC Automation Systems in Shelby Township is under new management. FEC designs and installs assembly equipment for automotive manufacturers. 2013 was a good year for the company, bringing in record sales, an increase of more than 40% from 2012. A local group recently held a major charity event, and helping kids with special needs was their priority. Katie Shimatero gives us the details.
The Shelby Township Kiwanis Club is holding an auction here at the Palazzo Grande tonight to benefit disabled children in Shelby Township. They hope to raise nearly $40,000. The Kiwanis Club is a worldwide service organization that was formed in Michigan in 1950. They are a social and charitable organization serving the children of the world. Joe Toya, the scholarship chairman, is in charge of all scholarship funding for Utica community schools.
For the past 25 years, we've been passing out scholarships to different students that qualify, meet our requirements, all Utica community schools children. Those that are part of our Key Club system as well. So there's applications that go out on February the 1st. They're usually due by April the 1st, and we make our presentations usually in June or July for the upcoming year. So, and we give up usually up to $15,000 in scholarships every year. So it's a big project.
Their annual charity auction taking place tonight, the Bids for Kids, raises proceeds for several different projects, including the scholarship program.
We do things like wheelchair ramps. We help the Friends of Foster Kids program. We help some of the worldwide service projects that we take care of. Food for hunger we do. There's a project that we do. We do backpacks. We do a dictionary program for the kids locally. So we're very active. We hope to raise about $50,000 or $60,000 tonight. We've got over 500 people here at Palazzo Grande, and it's just a great event.
Guests of the event say they enjoy giving back to such a great cause.
It's a lot of fun. It's a wonderful event, good food, good charity. The Kiwanis do a lot for children here in this country and abroad. And yeah, that's why, and good friends.
Former president of the Kiwanis Club, Jim Schwar, says the organization raises and distributes over $150,000 a year in Shelby Township. But in order to be able to raise so much in charitable contributions, they are always in need of new members.
We're always looking for more members. If you're interested in helping the community and want to have fun, join the Utica Shelby Kiwanis Club. Great group of people, men and women are eligible to be members of Kiwanis. If you have a local business, we'd love to have your support.
The Kiwanis Club will be holding another Bids for Kids auction in December. If you're interested in joining or donating to the Kiwanis Club, log on to www.uticakiwansis.org. Reporting for Shelby This Week, I'm Katie Shimatero.
Looks like it was a great event. Coming up, look out for phone scams, a mother on trial, and the governor talks schools. We'll be right back.
Go ahead. Station 1 call, retone that, please. 10-4. Captain 4 will be going to that location also.
Area residents have been targeted recently by people claiming to be IT security from computer companies. Sarah Shunk has the details.
In an effort to get your information, hackers from other countries have been calling citizens claiming to be IT security. They get people to believe they have a computer virus, and once the victim logs onto their website, the hacking begins. Once access is offered, the victim loses any security of their stored information. And although the warnings about these scams are out there, it takes just one time of being caught off guard for someone miles away to gain access to your information.
Well, it's funny we should be talking about this right now because my father-in-law just called me the other day. He was 84 years old, and he said that he got a phone call from a guy who said he was from Microsoft, and he wanted to tell him that his computer is putting stuff out there, and he talked my father-in-law into going and logging on the computer and doing a couple different things, and he gave him information, and he said it was so bad that he couldn't understand the guy because his English was so broken. So they got another guy on the phone who also spoke broken English but a little bit better, and I questioned my father-in-law and asked him, do you know who these folks were? He goes, no. They said they were from Microsoft, and I believe that they were. And I said, I teach crime prevention all the time. We always talk about don't give information over the phone to people who call you, and unfortunately you broke that #1 rule.
If you have been hacked, the best way to minimize damage is to get your credit checked immediately and see if any new accounts have been opened in your name. You can call the credit bureau and tell them you may have been a victim, and they will put a fraud alert on your account. And remember that Microsoft and other companies do not call people about viruses on their computer. Never give out personal information over the phone, no matter how convincing the caller seems. For Shelby This Week, I'm Sarah Shunk.
Some helpful tips on those scams. An update on a local woman who is charged with second-degree murder and child abuse. 21-year-old Audreanna Rhodes, accused of leaving her 2-year-old son in a van last September, causing him to die from heat stroke, is set to be in court on April 2nd. 2-year-old James Nelson was found in Rhodes' minivan in front of her home at DeQuinder Estates near Hamlin Road. The hearing in early April will determine if statements made by Rhodes will be used in trial. Jennifer Walden, roommate of Rhodes, found little James Nelson in the minivan after he had been left in his car seat for over 8 hours. Rhodes' family is supporting her, saying it wasn't Audreanna who placed James Nelson in his car seat. Still, no one has admitted placing the child in the van. Rhodes is currently in jail on a $500,000 bond. A young man died from a car accident in Washington Township recently. It happened on 27 Mile Road just west of Hayes. 25-year-old Ben Hessel of Washington Township was driving when his car veered off the road and hit a utility pole. Sheriff's office say Hessel was alone in the vehicle. Alcohol may be a factor, and he wasn't wearing his seatbelt. Governor Rick Snyder recently announced his annual proposed budget. A local subject matter important to Shelby Township: school funding. The Republican governor announced extra spending will go towards schools, a 2.8% increase to K through 12th. Governor Snyder tells us more.
For K-12, in terms of state dollars, it will be over $1 billion higher than it was the year before I took office. And that's important. It's to really focus on student growth. So one of the key things here is it shouldn't be just about the amount of money, but we're really investing in a smart way to help our kids be as successful as possible.
Along with increases for K through 12, a 6% increase in funding will go to universities and a 3% increase for community colleges. Snow and freezing temperatures has made a mess of our school systems. The State Board of Education is encouraging Michigan public schools to replace lost time with full school days. A unanimous stance on this issue by the board, since some schools were implying adding hours to each day. The board released a statement recently stating full days allows teachers to complete their full lesson plans with integrity and provide students with the appropriate instruction they need to meet their goals for every class. Schools who had more than 6 days off due to weather will need to make up school days. For the third straight year, Utica High School received the gold level status for their Chieftain Connection store. The school-based enterprise was among 150 other school stores to receive this award and will be recognized at a career development conference in Atlanta, Georgia. Student Robert Seifert tells us more.
It's an amazing experience. As a junior, I'm glad because I'll be able to come back next year and do it and kind of be the leader of it. And the store in general is just a fun experience. I encourage anyone to take a class if they can.
The school store has been in operation for over 30 years. Teacher Dana Boyce is in charge of the Chieftain store.
I think it's great to be a part of this. One of the things that I strive on is helping kids to become more confident and decide if this is what they want to do with their lives, marketing, business, or whatever direction. And I'm so proud of them. A 40-page paper, getting nationally certified again. Now we're on our way to Atlanta, Georgia to compete against over 140 school stores, hoping to maintain that top 10 status that we have in the past. So I'm so proud of them.
The school store sells clothes, snacks, and Chieftain coffee mugs. Other students involved in the group: Tim Ratoma and Kelsey Wayland. The group will go to Georgia in May to see how they place. Congrats and good luck. Some news worth dancing over: the Eisenhower dance team won the National Dance Team Championships recently. 18 young ladies traveled to Orlando, Florida for the finals in early February. In order to be a finalist, teams had to place among the top 3, then judged by a panel of coaches, rated on technique and overall performance. The national program will be on ESPN in March. Congrats to the varsity dance team. Ice was among us recently at the annual Utica Ice Fest. Amateur ice carvings, creative Disney sculptures, a frozen fish toss, and other activities were a frozen hit in historical downtown Utica. The Utica Ice Fest had a record number of ice sculptures lined up and down the street. Over 50 Disney-themed ice sculptures were on display for all to enjoy. Macomb Community College ice carver instructor Jeff Wolf spearheaded the ice carving, and luckily, not one block of ice melted this year. That's the first time in a long time. The Shelby Township Gardeners Club recently held a rose presentation at the Burgess Shadebush Nature Center. For all you local gardeners, the snow outside might not let you make a garden, but a popular plant you can still maintain in the winter around Shelby is a shrub rose. Top gardener Chuck Martin offers some advice.
And a shrub rose is probably the best known one is called knockout roses. And these shrub roses are winter hardy, insect and disease resistant, grow or flower year round or during the growing season, not in the winter. We don't see them sorry about that. And also are growing on their own roots. And so they're very easy to take care of. In fact, when you read about them, you take care of them just like a shrub. You don't have to worry about deadheading them or spraying them. And if you do, there's better ones out there. So this emphasis on shrub roses, and what's interesting is in about the year 2000, we only saw about 5% of our roses that were growing that were these shrub roses, and then in the year 2010, 50% of our roses that are sold were these shrub roses, and so the big change has happened within those 10 years, and so that's the trend, and I think it's a good trend of the roses.
Roses are a popular flower during February for Valentine's Day. The red flower brings color to the township. Also, the Shelby Gardeners Club recently celebrated their 10-year anniversary. Congratulations to the Gardeners Club. Up next, an evening to remember.
It happened this week in history. February 16th, 1909. Born in the town of Lawrence, Kansas, is Eugene Hugh Beaumont. He began his acting career in show business in theater and radio, moving to motion pictures in 1940. And although he acted in over 80 movies between 1940 and 1965, it was his portrayal of patient parent Ward Cleaver in the 1957 through 1963 television show, Leave It to Beaver, that most baby boomers remember him for. February 17, 1959. As part of the United States Navy's Project Vanguard, the Vanguard 2 satellite is launched, designed to measure cloud cover distribution over daylight portion of its orbit for a period of 19 days. It also provided information on density of the atmosphere. As of April 2012, Vanguard 2 was still in orbit. February 18, 1970. After going on trial for charges of conspiracy and inciting a riot at the 1968 Democratic National Convention in Chicago, 7 defendants are found not guilty. Originally called the Chicago 8, the anti-war group had attempted to march 15,000 protesters to the convention center, but were blocked by candidates' campaigns and the police. For 5 days, protesters and police clashed. Police used tear gas and made many arrests, as hundreds of protesters and police were injured. And dozens of journalists were clubbed and had cameras smashed by police and had their film confiscated. February 19, 1945. On a desolate volcanic island 750 miles south of Tokyo, Japan, U.S. Marines invade Iwo Jima. Known as Operation Detachment, 70,000 Marines faced over 22,000 well-entrenched Japanese defenders, most who would fight to the death. After 35 days of battle, U.S. forces declare the island secure. In the 8 square miles of Iwo Jima, 6,821 Americans would give the ultimate sacrifice, with another 19,000 wounded. February 20th, 1971. Despite safeguards put in place to prevent accidental activation, the emergency broadcast system interrupts national programming with a warning on a notification directed by the President, and that normal broadcasting would cease immediately. But the result of playing a wrong tape in hindsight proved a good test for the EBS, as flaws were found across the country. Many stations had not received the alert, many did and ignored it, and some didn't know what to do once they received it. February 21st, 1872. In New York City, New York, the Metropolitan Museum of Art opens in its original location on Fifth Avenue. Granted land in Central Park would become the new home of the Met in 1874. Today it's the largest art museum in the United States in area and contains more than 2 million works of art. It happened this week in history.
Daughters were pampered like princesses recently at the annual Daddy-Daughter Dance. Held at Cherry Creek, this is one of the most anticipated nights for dads and their daughters. Everyone danced the night away. The annual event, put on by the Parks and Rec Department, had over 200 people in attendance.
What's your favorite part about tonight?
Dancing with my dad.
What's your favorite part about tonight?
Probably just being here with my dad and dancing and stuff, yeah.
Many special memories were made at this dance, a fun way for Dad to show his daughter unconditional love. And that's Shelby This Week. You can watch us online all the time at shelbytv.org. And remember to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/ShelbyTWPTV. Thanks for watching.